Hello everybody, it's your boy Kyle back again with more Factory Town with a cold ass brace because I washed it but it hasn't finished drying off and it was sitting by an open window. So when we left off yesterday, I did do a little bit of off-camera decorating and I realized that my attempt to have the packages share space was ill-fated and that eventually it got to a point where one item would fill the entire packager and then the other one couldn't be accepted. So I split this into two packagers. This is all good now. Now that we have everything in here, we're meeting demand on the two stew varieties, and I have foolishly locked off the other food market so I can't check how the other resources are doing. So I will clear the little window right here and then we can mouse over it. So butter and sandwiches are not, they're kind of meeting demand. That being said, we do still have a little bit of space to, there are a little bit of happiness that we can still get that should increase output, assuming that I'm not limited by mathematical anomalies. Is there a way to boost this and actually make it, like, behave the way it's supposed to? Honestly, I want to see. Let me build an isolated thing, and let me see how many resources it actually produces, because, I mean, it's just flickering, like, it should be producing 10 items per second, and I don't think that's the case. So I'll throw another barn down, give it one little, and give it some stuff to work with. Okay, throw down some wheat. Okay, so I'll wait for the grain to grow so that I can actually, like, control and watch it. But let me go look at... So I've got this system over here. It has some issues. It works, but it still has some issues in that I've come to learn or discover that if a minecart enters the system at the same time one is exiting the system, the trigger to de-increment the number block does not fire. So what ends up happening is if a bunch of carts enter and exit the system all at once, the count gets off. What I can do to solve that is to set up a blocker that is active as a vehicle is entering and then deactivates once the vehicle has fully entered the loop. What I'll need to do is modify the system slightly because the system then also has to be large enough to hold all of my minecarts, otherwise it could end up jamming. So I'm going to waste a bunch of space and unnecessarily slow down my system for the purposes of improving its robustness. Also, I'm curious to see if I did my math wrong on how many fish oils I need, because I'm realizing that if I go to a kitchen, or an enchanter I guess, and look at the recipe for a magic potion, it requires, or rather an elixir, it requires one antidote. An antidote does require fish oil. And I had acted under the assumption that it did not. So what I need to do then is add an additional layer to this setup that still does what it's supposed to do, but then only produces fish oil rather than producing ointment. And it needs to run separately from the rest of the system. It can utilize the same resources, but I can't have it taking from that system. Otherwise we could run into problems where we're not meeting our needs on the other aspects because of it. So let me get the rails set back up. I need to make sure that I have my rail stops correctly configured. then let me set up the actual blocking system. And it will need a couple of agent triggers as well. 2 to be precise. 1 set to enter and 1 set to exit. So I'll throw down these 2, and I'll make my bottom ones the exit and my top ones the enter. So I guess I need an extra bool function as well, don't I? Or a not function to invert the signal from the exit to deactivate the blocker. Okay, so top one is the enter. Its offset will be the blocker's location that stops things from entering the system. I have this backwards, that is the exit. The offset is right here. Then it will hook up directly to the blocker, so it'll turn the blocker on when something enters the system. And then this one will be set to exit. Set the offset to the same location. Oh, I added a logic link. So both of these, yes. Okay, but then this will go through the bool function that will invert the signal and then turn the blocker off. And then once I add, let me see, top is on, bottom is off. Once I add some more storage, I should be able to actually utilize my fish, and then they'll need to go back in. So there, and no, the offset is right here, the trigger is right there. Okay, offset is there, trigger is here, this trigger is that. I think I've done that correctly. Okay, so next, how do I want to go about getting fish around? I might be able to do something along this lines to go up a layer, but can I? No, because I will hit the building. So I have to figure out how to move fish or build an extra storage space for fish. I only need one kitchen running the setup, so I need to take that into consideration. I could revise the splitter network so it works as 3, splits to 3 things, and then just build a ramp that goes up. So I think I'm gonna delete this whole setup, delete all my minecarts, which will also give me a chance to test my system, and make a 3 splitter network. So I do still have space for that. So the minecarts enter here, and they are split in 3 directions. One that drops off fish here. Oops. And then re-enters the system. That's a magic conveyor, not a rail cart. Okay, so that's correct. This follows similar behavior as before. And then a third track that will go up. I get these rail stops configured correctly. So how do I want to set up this third one? Probably in a line like this, so then its barn hooks up right here next to the other ointment barn. And then it still has space to work, but doesn't kind of get in the way of anything. I guess I could move it over 1 block so then it's spaced evenly with those. Well, no. Because I still need to get my carts up and down. I guess... Okay, yeah, no, it'll still work. It's just gonna be a little weird. Okay, so I need to go up a couple blocks. Turn. Okay, I do need to go up more blocks than this actually, because I have to actually reach a height where the barn is going to be, which is going to be 6 blocks above. So I guess that's also going to have an impact on how I design this. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. How far do I have to go before I hit that? 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is the earliest I can intersect with it. You have to get back down from here as well, which is going to be the difficult part. Although I can probably like do a weird little spiral type thing and link back up there. Okay. So yeah, then I guess I might as well put the barn here, have it offset by 1 block, but then it lines up better with the other barns. I probably won't need to put a packager for this either, which is nice. Okay. So, how do I want to build my ramp down? I think I need to work along the assumption that I have to hook up with this area immediately below turn. So that's a 4 block. So I could just start going down from this point, which is probably my best course of action. So it goes down 2, turns, goes down 2 again. So put scaffold down so it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. I don't accidentally place things in the wrong location. So 1 there, 1 there, and we are where we need to be, and it'll be hilarious to zigzag back down. But this also means, due to my increased demand, I might need to scale up my fish farm, which sounds like a bad thing, but it allows me to build something far enough out that this system isn't completely pointless, because I don't need a system as complicated as the one that I designed for this. I just made it for as a proof of concept mostly. So like, here's some fish out here that, you know, in reality this track is long enough that if I send all 12 carts down here, it is going to kind of slow things. So if I get to a point where I'm only sending the amount of carts I need, then we're in a better spot. But I think I will wait to scale that up until I'm utilizing my fish so I can see if it's necessary or not. But now I need to put 12 more minecarts on here and make sure it works. And I'll probably have a better time if I actually hook this barn into the system and if I put a splitter back down. So there's a splitter. And it should split my carts in the directions they need to go. So workers, minecart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then turn them and set them to go forward. So something I did consider or I thought about yesterday, is I do actually need to rework this output in a way that one barn is priority, because the splitter method, well, no. I do need to make it so the barns chain, and that the last barn in the chain is where all of my ointment for my medical bands comes from. That's what they're called, right? What are they called? Medical wraps. Because I need to make sure that that has a consistent supply and that I'm only selling ointment I don't need to use later down the line. So how do I go about doing that? Probably one barn. Okay, so I guess I will delete these because it'll also give my system a chance to run. Then I'll have 2 barns, one with a pusher and one that does not have a pusher. Okay. So, I also have to consider then, I should place my barn for fish oil now so I don't run into issues placing it later. I don't think this is actually going to change the overall shape of the system, but I want to make sure that it is not an issue. Though I am going to have to like feed into the side of it. Okay, so 1 barn straight out. That'll be my medical band barn. And then, okay, so I've got a nice little line. So everything will come out. It'll be prioritized to go into the first barn. And that will be pushed into the second barn afterwards. Where is it? Pusher. On the top I have to use a grabber, so I can't make it as direct, but we should still have a successful operation. So now the system's going to be using fish, which means we can actually pick up fish. This doesn't seem to be toggling its state at all. Wonder why that is. But system is at least maintaining. Yeah. Until the system is full again, I'm not really going to be able to work on it, which is unfortunate. I think there's a better way to do this. I can have a true and a false, basically by just having a 1 and a 0 block that get pushed. So I need pushers. Okay, so this is, I guess that, okay. So I needed to remove the logic. So right is on, left is off. Right is on, left is off. Just like it's in my head trying to make sure I don't mess it up. Okay, so now I need number blocks. Assuming that number blocks work this way. What am I doing? Oh, these are different. Which means I've messed these up. These should not be connected to that trigger. No, they aren't. It was just being weird. Okay. I have these set backwards because right is on, left is off. Okay, and then just connect the pusher to the number blocks. Connect the number blocks to the blocker. Still not working. Okay, so numbers don't work this way. But if we use logic lamps, because they have a Boolean state, or toggles, but logic lamps look nicer. Okay, so this should push the Boolean state of the lamp. Lamps are linked to their corresponding blockers, which should toggle their state when things enter and exit. Or, rather, I have these set off wrong. That activates it, so that's an enter. This needs to be set to exit, so that's part of the problem, because they are triggering at the same time. So that turns it on. That one's set correctly, but the system hasn't been entered yet. Are we seeing a flicker bit activating / deactivating? It's going to be hard to tell because the system is... Okay, it does work. So now, the system should be robust enough to know whether or not it is... a cart is entering it, so it'll jam up, but that will prevent calls that we can't handle. Should handle unhandled exceptions. Now it's a handled exception. Fucking amazing. Okay, what's the deal with this? Why is it going slow? These have fish. Okay, they're just going as fast as they can. That's the issue. Yeesh. Alright, let's get this last kitchen hooked up. This barn is gonna be a pain. No, maybe not. Okay. Just go straight across everything. It should be relatively easy. Set this to be fish oil. Throw down 3 conveyors and call it good. And repeat the process, but begin a downhill trajectory. Now, I always forget, does doing scaffold like this block it? Yes, it does. Okay, so this has to be up 1 level higher. Ooh, I think it'll still be able to enter the barn, but it'll be close. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, it should be okay, but it's at the max height. Okay. Okay, that's level. So that's where that needs to be. And conveyors. Alright, so now we have the fish oil that we need for the antidotes to make potions later. So once this backs up, this whole line will be full, which will be nice. Same thing with this. This barn is priority, so this barn should always fill first, and then this barn will. And we'll want this system to be backed up, preferably, before we work on anything else, so... Now the real question is, do I need another fish farm? Seems like I haven't pulled much from all this, but it's hard to say, because it's not running 100% of the time. Also, hilariously enough, the system doesn't use fish fast enough to even reach this other one, so I'm going to safely assume that it's not necessary. And I built a massive system that doesn't need to be this complex, but it looks important. That's the big thing. Also, interestingly enough, Magic Rail's elevation changes do not impact the speed of the cart, which is good to note. Because I thought this upwards ramp was going to be a problem, but it is not. Instead, it is just a fun roller coaster. So that's good. I might as well tear down my medical lines, because I'm about to replace them. We're going to see a happiness hit, but such is the nature of things. Also, I need to consider if I want to tear down other non-related things. Simply by virtue of them being in the way. Because, like, I've got like a bunch of jewelry systems here and stuff like that. Do I destroy those yet, or do I hold off? Now that I'll be building my apothecary lines. I'm trying to think. Everything that I'm using, I should have another system somewhere else working on it. The problem is going to be that I'll take a pretty substantial happiness hit as a result of destroying all of these lines. But might be time to do that. And then I also get a more accurate representation of where I'm at. So let the destruction commence. Anything that is on... I mean, the spellbook line will get deleted, but for now I can use it as a reference point. Anything that is to the left of the spellbook line is going to meet an unfortunate demise, which will include the mana network. But I do have barns here with crystals in them that I'll probably want to move. I'll throw them by my base for the time being. Get them out of the danger zone. I almost forgot about checking this little farm. So let's watch it and see how fast it actually produces things. Okay. That seems right. Maybe not quite as fast as it's supposed to be, but I guess that begs the question why I'm having so many problems. Oh well. As long as we're meeting needs, it's fine. And we are meeting the needs. We just aren't backlogging the assembly line. Like we are with this other stuff. I wonder if there's a way that I can utilize this fertilizer as well for my medical lines, because I do know I will need heat in a couple of locations. Just don't want to put too much strain on the system. What's this like? Oh. Yeah. Like, why are dot bubbles popping up? It's because these no longer have a job to do, and hilariously enough, it just spawns them in the middle of the screen and then teleports them to where they're supposed to be. Alright, GTFO fishing boats. I guess I'll keep the game paused while I'm destroying everything. All will burn, etc., etc. But with a nice, clean, fresh start, we'll be able to build much better lines than we currently have. Destroy everything with reckless disregard. Oh yeah, I guess I should finish moving all of my crystal barns before I destroy everything with reckless disregard. I think I only have 3 of the 4 elements with barns, so let me find the air barn and then we should be all good. If I even got that far, I might not have done that because the air... Nope, there it is. Water was my last one that I built, and I care the least about it, so I don't think I have a water line anywhere here. Now I'll get to go and clear the mana network, which will be hilarious. Delete so many things that are full of goodies. All in the name of progress. Okay, so these boats need to get deleted. Yeah, you can see how overfishing was impacting this line, because some of these are basically empty and then the other ones are all full. I guess I should fully destroy something before moving on, or else I'm just gonna have a bunch of half-destroyed setups. There were still cotton conveyor belts here. That's awful. Okay, get out of your kitchen. To also remove all of the fields afterwards, but I'll delete all of the blocks and buildings first because the fields are annoying. Okay, get rid of this. Get rid of all of it. It's terrible. Get it out of my sight. I made a rule and I said everything to the left of this, but some of it's probably not going to be in the way. So I think I would exercise a... well, no, because I've deleted lines that provide it with resources, so... I guess that has no point. None of this has any point in existing because none of it can work. I have to trash my, my old medical lines kind of carefully because they are... they don't have, or they have stuff under them I don't want to delete yet. And same thing with this. Let me crush all of this mana pipeline stuff. Yep. I've deleted things now. It's all going away. That line wasn't even doing anything, so I guess there's no harm in that. Repair that line for now. This line's just a cloth conveyor belt eyesore that isn't running anyway. I'll destroy it up to this point and I'll worry about the rest at a different time. So, I need to destroy all of this stuff rather carefully. Let me have a look at my base, because I don't think I'm... oh gosh, I pressed F. I don't think I'm getting any of these resources back, and I would imagine it's because my base is, yep, jammed full of crap. Literally has 108 packed fertilizers in it. Delete everything. That way I can actually get back some resources that matter. Oh gosh, there's like no wood in here? I guess I don't need it. I don't have it in my base. I have it stored externally. Wood wheels. Do I need to hold on to these? Probably not. Hold on to the iron. Hold on. Now I'll delete the fire crystals. I was like, oh, I should save them, but I realized that it would require me to actually move them out of my base, which is something I don't plan on doing. Okay. Since all this gets cleared out, we'll actually have stuff to work with. I'll keep the metal wheels because there is a chance that I will actually use them. Don't need the fertilizer, I have enough of that. Okay, now I'll actually get resources back when I delete things, which is nice. Speaking of which, what's going on here? Whatever. I'll ignore it. Okay. So, this system, I mean, is basically pointless at this point because I'm deleting what it hooks up to, but I'll leave it for now. And then carefully delete all of the scaffolds that it utilizes. Because I'm going to tear down that system. With reckless disregard. Okay, trash scaffold. I have to be a little careful not to break ramped pieces, since that seems to be a chronic problem. Alright, that's cleaned up. Let me finish cleaning this up, since I only deleted it so that I could get... or I only went away from it so I could get the shit back from it. Delete that. Okay, this line needs to go. So does this line. I think I deleted something I wasn't supposed to. Okay. Alright, I'm clear from that now. Delete the specialty goods, because at this point nothing will be feeding into it. Delete my apothecaries for the same reason. Oh, and look, they're hiding things. Honestly, I'm gonna have to tear down this line too, because I'm destroying my iron mine, so there's no reason to hold on to this, because it can't even be used. Okay. Keep my metal conveyor belt line, because it will still work. The clothes line will still work, even though it's not meeting qualifications, but it'll work. It's like hard to see what I'm doing, but I don't want to delete things I'm not trying to delete. Come on. Alright. Delete all of this crap. Delete all this, but gotta be careful not to delete parts of my town. Clear that line out. Okay, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is my enchanted clothes. Guess I'll carefully dissect this. Destroy the scaffold. Alright. It's gonna have some, like random trees with planters on them hanging out, but that's fine. Okay. I guess at this point I can destroy this line. I'm not actually using it as a reference. Or rather, I'm using it as a reference, but it can't do anything yet right now. Okay. Back to the source and destroy everything. If I keep running, I guess I'll delete the barn for storage because I don't need it. Might as well delete all of it. Delete it all, destroy it, get rid of it. Destruction, devastation, because this will get moved to another location. Thankfully most of it is empty. The steam generator isn't actually hooked into the system, so there's no problem in deleting it. The school can stay, I guess, and remove all of its workers, because it doesn't need them. It just needs to exist to keep the recipe for paper unlocked. Gonna have a weird hole in the forest here as well. Need to clear out all this crap. So, since I'm deleting so much stuff, the actual functional loss of happiness is going to be substantial, so that's something we need to take into consideration. But once things get set up, we should get some of it back, and then it's just a matter of redesigning systems, and we will have everything where we need to be. I hope I don't, like, destroy my... I hope I'm not being careless by destroying some of this and that I don't have as much fertilizer in safe storage as I thought, because I will still need to build farms. Wish there was an easier way to do this. Am I getting well, none of these have Omnistone upgrades, I don't think, but some of the infrastructure from stuff I might get Omnistones back from destroying, which will be kinda nice. Yeah, like these. It's like at a point where I'm almost debating, it's like, well, no. I'm not debating that much because of the logistics issues it poses, but I'm like, oh, should I put Omnistones in my base instead of in, like, barn storage? In fact, at this point, I think they are probably full. Probably not making any more. I guess is okay, because my economy is in shambles and you utilize a lot of currency to make them by virtue of producing the stones that go into assembling them. So I guess I'm not really too concerned about doing that, especially if I'm not using them for anything. I'm not gonna really need them until I'm making magical products again, which I will be on some of this, but I'll just be upgrading recharges so they're a little more useful. Okay, so I've almost cleaned up all of this area, which wasn't even like on my primary area to delete, but it's connected to a line that it doesn't work anymore, so might as well get rid of it. I can repair the lake so it looks more natural. Well, kind of. It's better than it was, I guess. It's a lake. Alright. So what's going on? Those are my potatoes. This stuff can stay, I just have to delete this line. Without destroying anything that I don't mean to. Getting real close. This line sucks, it needs to be changed. Actually, I'm not using any part of this assembly line anymore. This doesn't need to exist either, I'm only selling the goods. I guess I should just destroy everything. There's no reason to hold on to any of it except for, like, this part right here that's making my mana pipes. So yeah, I guess I'll destroy all the other stuff. So we're gonna take an even larger happiness hit than originally originally thought, but it's all in the name of progress. I actually have to go into my decoration to remove this line. Which is a little annoying, but I probably should have thought about that before I made this area closed off if I was really that concerned. And I can delete all these depleted resources. I'm trying to think, I don't even think I finished fixing scaffold in certain spots. Like, by my base. So yeah, I guess a lot of this episode, stream rather, is probably just gonna be reworking or destroying things because it's gonna take so long to break everything. Close this back up. Okay. Do I need this? Yes, that performs a function. I don't need anything nearby it though, because they were literally just selling stones. These do. Okay, those hold on to wood, so I do need those. I think I have a cotton farm here that represents my entire stock of cotton. That being said, if that is the case, I can fix that problem without too much difficulty, so I will tear it down. Okay. So I need to carefully destroy this area because there is still some stuff in it that matters. Just not a lot. Okay. I can fill this wall in. Man, it doesn't actually reach the bottom, it's floating. Could even build like a cute little dock if I wanted. And I do, so I will. I'm gonna delete some stuff though. So you can't see into the area. Whoops, deleted more than I wanted. Okay. Have a little pathway right here. A little awning. And I need some half stairs. And some wood bridges. Wow, how cute. Totes adorbs. Come on. I guess I probably should have considered that I would need to build underneath this before I placed it. It's like so laggy when I look in this direction. It's because I've got all the shrine stuff back there. Okay. A random beeping. Don't know what that was. Okay. How do I want to set that up? I guess I can just do that. Alright, and then I can put like a little bench and some flowers. There's a flower planter box. There's a wood bench. And you know what? Here I get a lamppost. Fucking beautiful. Okay. That's a town worth living in. Now it's finished deleting. I'm gonna have to go through and clean that area up as well, once I've deleted everything else in and around it. Okay. So destroy all this stone. A lot of stuff to break. But it'll be worth it because it'll free up space to make things that don't suck. To the point where I almost feel like I should move my mana lines, but they exist in this location because they can utilize my fertilizer farm. So I don't know. I guess if it's an issue, I'll do it, because this is where I plan on building like all of, I don't know if it'll be here. I guess probably here is where I'll build my my general goods store items. So I can't fit it all in this direction. I will have to mess with this, but oh well. And a lot of it will use fuel, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make too much more use of animal-based fuels for that. I'll probably have to build lava, which is fine. It feels kind of cheaty, but it is also like you have to set it up and make sure it can scale properly. So there's some skill to it. Need all of these. A lot of stuff I'm gonna have to delete here by hand. So there are a lot of buildings here, because when I originally built this, I scaled it incorrectly, so it had twice the infrastructure it needed. I could repair the mountain as well, since it's just in a terrible state. Or I could just leave it in its terrible state, which I'm much more inclined to do. See if I can pick off as many silos as possible before actually going and building or deleting blocks. The more I can delete now, the fewer times I have to move my hand to a different part of the keyboard. This system is just terrible from the get-go, but I've learned a lot since then, and also can do my math a little more consistently better. For the most part, at least. Oh, there's another forester in there. I can see parts of it. There's 2 foresters in there. Alright, I got one. Here's the other. Nope, there are even more. There are fucking 8 foresters in here. And plenty of silos as well. Because everything was done internally rather than on the sides, which of course made it that much more difficult. Okay. Delete these farms, and then I should be able to trash a bunch of scaffolding pretty easily. Is there anything else in there that I can see that I can delete now? There's some forges. Alright, let's begin erasing. Nice thing about this is it will build up some stock to work with in my base that as I build it will start to pull from there, so I don't have to worry as much about building while paused for the rest of the assembly lines until I get it going a bit, which is nice. I feel like I'm gonna get like what's the word I'm thinking of? Man, Words weren't so hard, I could actually speak and make sense. Incredulous when I need to go and clear out my trees, and I'm like, why the fuck are there planters under here? Because I'm not gonna delete them right now, but then I'll be a salty boy later when they need to be cleared and I didn't clear them. Because that's the kind of person I am. Again, I wish there was an easier way to clear things, but I guess that's part of the punishment for not future-proofing your designs, right? I have to go and delete it all. I have a tool. Alright, let's see. Select action. Hold left button. I'm scared to press my hotkey because I feel like it's a hotkey that I have in Streamlabs. But I have to. Hopefully I don't turn off my stream. Alright guys, wish me luck. It's not working anyway. What the heck? Oh, it's because it's on a 10-second delay. There we go. Now I don't have to hold down the mouse. I can just move it over things, except if I accidentally click. This will hurt my wrist a lot less. That is the power of auto clickers, so you can delete your base faster. Fucking beautiful. I guess there's no reason that I can't have it just spam left click as well. So now I can drill through things. That sounds like a great idea. Fucking amazing. There we go. Now we're actually seeing some progress. I'm not sure. I'm not confident that it is, it can delete large stacks more quickly, but is it deleting wide strokes? That is the question. Now when it comes time to, delete resources, obviously I can go back to holding it. But hey, I'm actually clearing stuff out now, that's nice. And it's yelling at me for clicking on incompatible targets, which is hilarious. It is nice to be able to remove a whole pillar of scaffold, though, just by holding my mouse over it instead of having to click 1,000 times. Okay, clear all this. Oh, there's a silo hiding in there. Cheeky little bugger. I guess there are a couple. Fine, fine. Trash all this. I apologize, I should have considered this before streaming, that deleting things is an extensive process that is probably not the most interesting to watch. Because a lot of stuff has to get wrecked, and it takes a long time to do it. Okay, so that's cleaned. I just have to clean all this shit. Okay. Trying to think. I don't want to destroy my Omni Stone setup right now. So let's start by just deleting stuff. Now I have tons of rails in storage, and I set up another storage system by where my magic rails are made just in case. Well, I mean, not just in case, you need the rails to make mines. So I should be okay, despite all of this. By going through and deleting everything, I shouldn't have to worry about how the potential risks of running out of rails when it comes to building mines. Okay, so there are a couple silos hiding in here. Is that all of the silos? I think so. Trash these ones, trash these receivers. There's a barn hiding down there with some more silos. Okay. I can go through and clean up the resources as well once it's done. Don't have to kill the trees, but kill anything that's a depleted rock. For the most part, at least. There are more silos hiding from me. So that's that. Delete these, which is also stacked on layers, so of course it's going to be that much harder to delete. A bunch of Earth-related stuff here. I wonder, I forget what I was doing. I mean, I was probably just boosting mines, which is kind of terrible. Okay. Is this on the correct level? Because I could keep that apothecary if it is. It is, and then I build one underneath it. So let's do that. Okay. So apothecary is where it's going to end up being. Now I'll delete the rest of the infrastructure and give myself plenty of space to work with. And I guess as far as the fields are concerned, I could kind of leave them until I run into them. But I feel like it could have a potential negative impact on my design approach just by the, placebo effect of it being there. That's not the correct usage of that term, but I think you get the idea. Even if it isn't actively impacting my design, I might try to build around it. Did I just click on the forge through the ground? I did. That's kind of good. Alright, I've almost cleared everything. Well, that's building related at least. There's still tons of work to do, as far as clearing all of the scaffolding and whatnot. I have lots of mana bricks in my storage now, which is nice. I'm gonna get rid of all these silos. It's interesting to see that, well, I guess that system was naturally going to back up because it produced leather at a faster rate than... Actually, I don't know what the deal was with that. I think it had something to do with the rate of enchantment versus the rate of leather production, but I don't know. Okay, delete this. I remember I worked so hard to make this so pretty. I mean, not really, you can't even see any of it at this point, but there was a point where I was pretending that it was a restaurant. There's still cloth conveyor belts as well. Delete the boats. How many boats? Did I get all of them? Nope, there's still one more. Okay. Alright, so that's everything that I need to get rid of there. Get rid of these. I guess I should be a little concerned. I think I might have just deleted all of my herb storage. Okay, no, I planned ahead. Good on me. Alright. So I think it's time to go back to the ways of destruction. Kill everything. Hope that I don't have to switch to delete buildings. Okay, I need to carefully turn my camera on this so I don't trash any scaffolding that I don't mean to. Gotta get a clean shave on the building. Okay. So, a lot of stuff that's in and around here, and obviously I have to get a lower angle. There's a fucking barn! I missed a barn. And I missed these mana transmitters. I wonder if I missed them for the air barn as well. Probably, but I forget where that was. Oh well. Okay, clean all this up. That was close, I almost deleted scaffolding from the houses. Alright. Now we're gonna actually start seeing some space and delete all of my depleted resources, except for trees, which will regrow, and then I'll just delete them on an as-needed basis. Because they're pretty, and they're annoying to replant because you have to put planters underneath them, which changes their aesthetic properties because it gives it a footpath effect. Let me get in here and clean this. quickly reproduce the scaffold. Alright, so that's good. This. I'll have so much space to work with, it'll be amazing. We're just gonna have, like, I don't know, half of the happiness we currently have once they chew through what they've got in storage, which probably isn't much because I don't think I was meeting need with anything. Honestly, I kind of want to unpause the game just to see how substantially happiness drops. Okay, so we're at like 1300 right now. Let's see how low it gets. Because all of the resources we are supplying, which is currently only 4, we're meeting complete demand for. But now we'll be destroying every other input. So we should go down to 400 happiness, I think. Holy shit, that's gonna be pretty brutal. Things are gonna be going a lot slower for a little while, but once everything's up and running again, every new line we build should be essentially instant 100% happiness. Oh yeah, it's dropping. Look at it go, it's crazy. Trying to think if... No, because I've deleted all... Well... Yeah, no, I've deleted all of the inputs, so there's literally nothing except for food being supplied. Okay. Well, let's get this cleaned up. Wow, the trees are regrowing. Cute. Fortunately, the iron ore will not regrow without divine intervention, which I don't plan on providing. Almost there with this system, then I can move on to the next one. Okay. Now clean this. There's still little minecarts on it, oh. Poor little minecarts. There goes happiness, dropping substantially now. I feel like there'll be a point where it's just like a near instantaneous drop. But it is steadily declining. Goodbye, minecarts. Alright, the minecarts are dead. I killed them. Still shoots on a lot of these. I hear a train outside, oh man. Oh yeah, there it goes. Look at it drop. Is the only effective way to describe the heaviness right now. A revolt is in the mix. As happiness drops. And but it should hit... Oh wait, it might not be steady at 500. Because everything has to kind of accelerate. And that's how I've laid out the system. It's not like... I guess we'll see. See if it stops at 400, if it keeps going lower. Okay, it stopped at 400 for now. But we'll see if we're actually able to meet demand as a result. I think we will still see this end up dropping because... So yeah, when I said we'll have an instantaneous resurgence of happiness once we hit that point, that's probably not accurate because the systems are based around a 1600 or at 1600% productivity. So I need at least 1500 happiness for them to meet that. That being said, as they go faster, they'll be able to produce items faster, which means they'll become closer to meeting the demand. It'll accelerate up there, but it won't be the instantaneous happiness boost that I was originally thinking it was going to be. And also, they're going to produce items a lot slower now, so I'll take that into consideration. Alright, we've cleaned up most of what's been laying around, I think. Yes. Oh, yep, there it goes. Now it's starting to drop again. Wonder where the true equilibrium lies. How much a single line can support on its own without the exponential benefit of other items. I'm gonna bet it's going to land somewhere around... It's gonna fluctuate around 300. I don't think it'll drop too far below that, because of how high value the items that it's selling are. Come going on with that wheat? It's just kind of floating. Same with some of this. Oh, there's wells. There's fucking wells. GTFO wells. Okay, so this is cleaned up. Finish cleaning up this. Wonder if I'm not receiving items anymore because I probably filled up my base. Let me double check that real quick. Because I would like to scavenge scaffold. Yep. Fucking 170. Whatever they're called, earth stones. Earth crystals, I guess. So yeah, because I cleared all of these lines, now I haven't been collecting my resources. Oh, almost deleted the Omni Stones. I think I'll hold on to the fertilizer just in case. But everything else can go, and then I'll have plenty of space to get more planks. Although I'm gonna get more metal conveyor belts before I get planks, but whatever. Okay. Almost there. I think we're gonna get herbs too. I guess that's the issue, is that I'm clearing off lines that still have stuff on them, so I'm getting the stuff back, even though I don't want it. Goodbye, fish. Okay, so we're about to hit the 300 threshold. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. If it fluctuates around there, or if it keeps dropping lower. I mean, it's never gonna hit 0, because I am still producing items, just at a low rate. Nope, it's dropped below it. But with a healthy reserve of resources to jumpstart my production, I shouldn't need to worry about the substantial happiness hit. And again, every line I build will make every previous line more valuable, so we should still be in the clear. The only issue it might cause is that it won't give us an accurate representation of material consumption rates, which is going to be an issue for anything that uses farms. So I'm going to need to design my farms with that in mind and probably make them larger than I would otherwise think they would need to be, on the off chance that once I hit full productivity that they aren't going to be large enough to support them. I do have a framework in mind already from my food assembly lines on what size things need to be, but that's beside the point. I think we're almost got everything cleared up, which is nice. Because then I can actually start building things. So the rate of happiness reduction has slowed, but still hasn't stopped. I don't foresee it dropping below 200. But the more it drops, the more it's going to drop. So I guess we'll wait and see. Okay. Have I deleted all of the infrastructure? I think the answer is yes. So let me go in and rebuild the natural scaffolding of my base. And then go from there. Okay, so my tower has returned to its natural state of being a tower. And let's clear some resources. Look at these just like strange tree designs, pretty funny. Okay. Now I can set it to be hold left click. Alright. And now I can delete all these depleted resources. Like these iron. Except some of it's in the mountain and I can't click on it. Come on. It's interesting to see that I never upgraded some of my old systems that used coal. I guess I'll clear the trees, why not? I can claim the iron from them on the off chance I need it, but I don't think I will. I think I've got, and I do have assembly lines that will produce more. Right, plenty of tree planters have been exposed. Clear out the cotton. Accidentally cleared some other stuff. But part of the benefit of this now is none of my, well no, I was going to say none of my assembly lines require currency, but that's not true. All of my, anything that's producing Omnistones requires currency, but I guess that assembly line probably isn't running either at this point. So I'll be able to get a stockpile of gold and red coins, which will be nice. Although it's not going to go up at a wildly ridiculous rate because the rate of production has been cut to like 1/6 of what it was probably. Okay. What is this? Why are there like shadows? I wonder if that's related to the mana network maybe? Or if it's just a graphical bug, which is also likely. Okay. Debating about destroying actual natural resources alongside all of this, but for now I won't clear out everything. I'll just clear out stuff that I built. Most of it. So there are some, like, trees that I can see that I've placed, but I'm not going to bother deleting them because they're, like, mixed in with a regular forest. Okay. I will delete this coal, though, because it looks terrible. I guess by virtue... Oh, there's some trees here. I guess they'll get deleted too. Sorry, trees. Get all of this ugly, depleted coal. Little blobs. They're nothing like their former glory. Okay. Just deleted a bunch of trees that I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, trees. I didn't mean it. Forgive me. Okay. Delete another one. Oh no. Gotta be real careful not to kill the rest of the trees. We'll probably end up removing some natural resources just because they might end up being in the way of medical lines, but for now, just avoid them. This was my old medical wrap line. Okay. Where are we at? What other farms need to be wrecked? I think that's it. So, now we can finally do the last cleanup. Farm tiles. Then we will be all set. The world is my oyster. Everything is ready for new development. Can I delete? No, I can only delete farm tiles right now. I only have farm tiles selected. There'll still be little blobs of water, but I can fix them at some later point if I really care. Which I don't. Now, my game also will run a lot more nicely because there's not 1,000 assembly lines going every direction that are terribly inefficient. That's an added bonus of deleting everything, is that I can play the game again. Okay. For this farm... I think I'll clean these up real quick while I'm looking at them. I wonder if I am actually getting this iron in my base. I should be. And some fertilizer as well, which is good. Guess I should probably use wool for my... anything that requires cloth. I guess I'll have to look at how much fuel I actually need for all of my assembly lines, and I can kind of decide how I want to make my manufacture cloth based on that. because it's not like... It's less than preferable. Oh, I forgot to clear this. It is less than preferable to utilize wool because it requires more footprint, requires grain and grain mills, and it just seems to be a little wonky since the grain mills don't seem to work correctly at high speeds. Like, hilariously now, because everything is slowed down, my system should be better balanced than it was before, but I just press Z. I don't know what Z does. Let me clear out these farms. Oops, I deleted some iron. And as my assembly lines accelerate slowly, actually, we might be able to have the lines themselves work a bit better. But I don't actually know how accurate that is. I guess we'll find out. Delete my little sugar patties. As in, like, rice patties, not like, burgers. Burgers, burgers, burgers. Burgers, burgers, burgers. Okay, this should be the last of the farm tiles. And I'm debating if I want to just straight up start feeding ointment into the base, or if I want to... I missed one. Or if I want to build my medical band line first. Because I get an instant happiness boost from feeding in my ointment, but it will limit the space for my other assembly lines. Okay. It's probably in my best interest to just feed it and rework the line afterwards. So, let me build a packager and buy this. I'm gonna think how I want to design it. And it's not that complicated, it'll just have it fly off the side and I can hide it later if I really care. Okay, so that's 3. Okay, packager, copy, face this way. Unpack from crate, hook it up, baby. Like, I don't really want to have just like a straight assembly line floating across the land, but it makes sense, so might as well do it. Get a happiness boost, we'll make money, it'll be all good. Okay. So, put that there, put one off the front of this, and I should just be able to drag and drop. Oh, the game is not going to let me do it that way. It's going to be weird about it. But it will give me a good starting point. So I can be valuable in those regards. And go downhill, which of course is always difficult. Oh shit, there's the stuff already. Whoops. I didn't mean to delete all of that, I still want some of it. Okay. Just put some scaffold down on the corners, I guess. Okay, so we should, with this, start seeing a happiness boost. Everything will get unpacked. Indeed, we are seeing a big happiness boost. I wonder if it'll actually get a backlog. It will. That's nice. I don't think that backlog will last, but there's a lot of stuff in this barn. Okay, so first medical item being produced and sent. Before I get too far, I realized I never deleted my mana pipe networks, so I should probably do that, because yep, there's stuff up here. I would prefer to not run into these by mistake later. Interestingly enough, ointment is, even though it's the only medical item, oh, now it's just going. It's going fast. Yes, this happiness boost will be temporary, to say the least. Still just like little mana pipe spigots all over the place. Okay, yeah, we've already like almost gone through the backlog already of ointment, so yeah. Like I said, temporary happiness boost, very temporary. Interesting to note, though, that I should consider this a right, like some sort of boundary, because, or potentially change the shape of it once I finish my medical bandage line, or my medical wrap line, because I do need to save as much space as I can here for my general goods items, and I'm kind of boxing it off right now by building a giant L-shaped conveyor belt. But anyway, back to business. So that's all cleared off. Go to my base and delete things again. So it's actually not completely full now. I realize there's a row of things on the bottom that I can't reach. Sandwiches. Cooked beef. And bread. Why were those in there? That's weird. I'll keep the herbs for now because there's a chance that I will still be able to use them. But everything else can be trash for the most part, because I don't plan on going through the effort of getting it out of the base. Okay. So back to here, medical wraps. How many steps do I need to go through to produce a medical wrap? No, you make them at a workshop. Let me throw the workshop down. I can look at it. So medical wrap requires ointment, which I have. It requires a poultice, which I can produce. And that requires a bandage. So a bandage, I need 1 cloth for the bandage. We'll actually have to build 2 factories to do this, because otherwise it's slower than my 8-second time frame. Problem is, at my 5-second time frame, I think I might be producing it too quickly, and so it won't be balanced with the ointment that just is being sold as ointment. So I might need to find a way to arbitrarily slow the system down. And actually, honestly, wool is probably the best way to do that, because wool takes 6 seconds to be produced, and so does ointment. So I've created I will have created an equilibrium there that will slow my system down enough that the medical wraps won't be able to take more than they're supposed to take. That being said, I need 2 cloth, so I will need 2 sheep. And let me go look at previous designs to figure out how much grain I need for 2 sheep. So this system utilizes 2 farms, 2 grain mills, and 2 pastures, and is probably larger than it needs to be, but gets the job done. And it's only feeding 1, but that's because it only needs 2. So I guess on my system, each one will need to go to its own workshop, because I can't have the workshop, or the workshop will be slowing it down. Although, interestingly enough, I could use that to slow the system down to the 8-second threshold, but it's probably better to have it running on a 6-second clock. So, let's get stacking. Let me think, where in the assembly line do I need the ointment. I need it at the very last step. So, probably just build everything kind of horizontally next to this. How do I want to do that? Now I could kind of build my farms underneath this, which might be nice. So let's do that. And how much? I'll still need herbs. Can I take from this system? Because I think that this system is producing more than it needs, right? Or is it at equilibrium? That doesn't seem accurate. It seems like it has way more than it needs. So this is 8. So I'm producing 8 in 3 seconds, which is 16 in 6 seconds. How many am I actually using? I'm looking at the wrong things. So... wait, hold on. Hold the fuck on. These take 2 ointment each. I'm a fucking idiot. Oh no! I need twice as much fish oil to make this go at the speed it needs to be. 'Cause I'm only producing half as much fish oil as I need. Okay. This is gonna be curious. This is gonna be an interesting thing to change. I've messed up very badly. Very, very badly. Okay. Then I guess I should stop and think how much herb I actually need, because some of this system might be able to be rerouted. I guess under my original idea, I still need 2 kitchens producing it in a 6-second time frame, so I realistically only need half of this system. Why I built it so large, I don't know. I think I was probably thinking that I would take from it, but it's excessive. That being said, if I downscale the system, I unlock a lot of space to work with. So let's see. Technically these barns are only receiving it from 1, so this is only 2 herbs per operation, at least from this barn. If I move my kitchens, I guess I'll delete. I don't need to delete this kitchen yet. That's producing the fish oil. Well, I guess I should put down a kitchen. I should check to make sure I'm producing the right amount of fish oil for this as well. Yes, this only needs 1. So that recipe is still correct. It's just that this recipe has been not designed correctly. Honestly, I should just restart it. Then I have to think about... I do have to think about how the minecart track works. Because right now, I would need to split it 5 ways instead of 3 ways. I don't know of a good way to do that. 5 is not... I mean, 5 is a prime number for 1, and I can do a 3... So I can't... But it's also greater than 3, so I can't do it with a single operation. That being said, I am producing a surplus of fish currently, so I could just have 2 barns that feed into each other and then pull from those barns. I think that'll work. Let me trash a lot of this. Yeah, let me trash most of this system. I'll keep this set up the way it is. Just delete a lot of the front end of it, or I guess the back end of it technically, so that I have space to delete or work with the rest of my stuff. Can't believe I made a mistake like that this late in the game. It's a mistake that is going to be much harder to fix as well, unfortunately. I might actually need to move these barns. I could try to make this system on one side. I don't think I could get my kitchens where they need to be that way. So I could put a kitchen here and a kitchen here. No, I can't get it to be one-sided. Because then I can't get the fish into everything. Or can I? If I do make it one-sided, that does make the system easier to work with, because then I can still use a three-way system. No, I still have that same problem, I think. Yeah, I think I do still have the same problem on that front. Okay. Let's delete these kitchens. But I should still be able to... I guess I would want to make it on this side because of where this barn is. But of course then I need on this side to have my... I mean, I guess I can just flip this around, can't I? So that it goes up like this, hits a barn here, and then goes down. Or is that gonna run into issues? Because I want to make my medical line on this side, my medical wrap line. But then, that would mean that I need barns that aren't feeding into kitchens. That being said, it would still just be easier to make. Honestly, just delete this shit, scale my farm back so it's only one line, and then just go from there. I think that's probably my best course of action, because I've kind of built myself into a corner. And delete these barns, I guess. This can stay where it is, which is nice. A lot of this can stay the same, actually. What happened? Why was that that way? Okay. So to make sure I delete the correct things and not the incorrect things, like I just did. Place a scaffold and then delete it to clean out that. So I do have to restructure the barn setup slightly in that. Now, that's why I deleted the scaffold, okay. The barns have to share their resources more. Okay, scrap all this. There's been a lot of deleting in this video. Or stream. Clear out this layer. And delete all of the scaffold. Or as much of it as I can currently. So the way that I built the little ponds as well is going to kind of jut into where I build the herbs, but that'll be okay. It won't have enough of an impact to potentially risk running out of resources. Okay, so let's place some more tiles down. I can delete, or I can plant herbs. Delete the tiles I don't need. How many tiles out do I have this? I have it at 4, so just 3 layers. Carefully so I don't destroy any plants I don't mean to. Clean up the farm tiles and we should be in business again. Okay, so kitchens. place them. This is one kitchen per thing. Is that... That's 2 herbs in 6 seconds per kitchen. Am I just a fucking idiot? Like, did I mess this up again? Oh wait, no, these are my... Shit, I did mess this up. Fuck. I deleted the wrong barns. Or the wrong kitchens. The wrong everything. Okay. So... How do I solve this problem? This problem that I have made for myself. Because now I need to... I might need to delete this and rework this conveyor belt line. So let me clear this off, and that will allow my minecarts to exit the system, and then I can destroy the system. Beautiful! And I will redesign it after I've fixed everything. And I've royally ruined this. I think there's a solution, but it's going to require some critical thinking that I did not exercise while building the system. Okay, so that's at least where it needs to be. These will be receiving fish. So, do I connect 2 barns to each other? Maybe. And then each barn will be able to... That's not what I wanted. Okay. So I might be able to pull up resources to kitchens from these barns. Just kind of have to be a little creative about how I do it to get them lined up to where they need to be without getting in the way of anything else. Alternatively, do I replace the barns with silos and use the silos to transfer the resources up to a higher level, and then how did I mess this up so badly? Let me think. Let me double check. No, I did already double check the antidote recipe, so I know that that requires only 1 fish oil, whereas, so I do need 5 fish oil in an 8-second, but realistically 6-second time frame, because that's how fast it can be produced. So I am still trying to split this into 5 different things. And unfortunately, because 5 is a prime number, I can't divide it that well. Okay, so these barns feed into these barns. I guess let me let this system run a little bit so I can make sure that they're filling up, which they are. That should all be good still. I might literally just have to slide all this shit over. Which sucks because I deleted the stuff that was already there. The problem is that I need kitchens. I do only need 2 kitchens producing the ointment. I just need 4 kitchens producing the fish oil, which I guess is something I could work with. Let's see, set this to be ointment. Feed the lines back in. Why is my 2 button not working? What has happened? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I guess then, based on this, it might be easier to get this to work than I originally thought. And then I don't necessarily... How do I want to do this whole barn setup then? Do I want these barns here, or do I want to just pull from this barn, which has more accessible area? Or alternatively, go up instead of horizontally. It is going to make building the fish oil only line very difficult if I go up. But I've kind of dug myself into that corner without having to rebuild the whole line. Also, hilariously enough, my system to make this keep better track of how many carts were in the system still is not working. And then somehow, now it's, so it went from like, what, positive, now it's negative? What the fuck even? What even happened? I don't get it. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. Why is it negative now? Like, literally. Am I triggering too many things? By pushing this, am I somehow triggering that? Like, literally, the only problem is that it's counting wrong, because it's getting conflicting signals. I don't know, I'll just manually reset it real quick. Okay, so that's corrected. But this bastard. Okay. So, what I could potentially do is go in this direction. I have space to go this direction on either side. And I can probably get away with only 2 inputs per kitchen. Because of... I think at that... It's gonna be hard to say though, because my happiness has dropped so substantially since I started that my production is going to be a very different rate than the final production rate's going to be. Now you have to take that into consideration when building these. I think I just have to move everything. I think that's my only course of action, is I set this line up and I have to suffer the consequences of it. Okay. So, trash everything and move it. That's what I'm gonna do. It sucks, but I can't figure out the solution. Or a more elegant solution, I suppose. This will be a solution, it's just not an ideal solution. That being said, I might not have to move the farms, I might just have to move how they receive their input. Or how they, not input, their output. Well, no, I can't do that because it'll get in the way of everything else. Alright, no, I do have to move the farms. So, rebuild the area I destroyed. Because brilliant. Destroy new area. Honestly, at this point I might as well rebuild the lakes so they're in the right spot. Delete the farms. And fill in the lakes and build new ones. replace farm tiles where the barns used to be. Now the difficult part, clean out the other area. Which isn't completely necessary, but probably in my best interest, on the off chance I need to utilize this space. I have to very carefully do it so I don't delete anything I don't mean to, because I don't have a lot of herbs in storage as a result of destroying everything. Okay. Clean out the farm tiles. Very nice. Alright. So now I can replant. I do still have a couple hundred in storage, so I should be okay. Place down my farms again. Right here. Okay, and then apply water and gather herbs. That's what they will all do. Okay. Actually hook up the output again. Starting with the barns. And then my silos in the middle again. That aspect of the system still worked and doesn't need to be messed with. Hopefully we don't run into mathematical anomalies with these as well. I mean, they produce them on a slower clock, so hopefully it won't be an issue, but we are at equilibrium with the amount of herbs we need to produce in order to produce the amount of ointment required for the system in a 6-second time frame. That being said, I guess if I slow down... No, everything's running on 6 seconds. Nothing's going slower than that currently. Alright, throw down all of my conveyors. And grabbers. Okay, now that this is set up, I could change the barns. Unless I want them set up this way, but I'm not confident that I do. Don't like it. So how do I change the setup? I don't think I can. But I can have 2 lines into a kitchen right here, and then 2 lines into a kitchen right here. Which is what I need. But I guess I would rather the lines feed from the side. Yeah, I can still do that. And in which case I could probably actually get 3 lines, which means I might be able to move these barns over so at least they're a little more centered. Okay. Alright. So then I just kind of have to do... Need to make sure I've got space for 3 on either sides. I don't. I only have space for 2. That's not the nature. That's not necessarily from the shape of the barns as much as it is the shape of... It might still work. I think it'll still work. Let me place down one side to use as a point of reference. Okay. Yeah, it'll still work. Okay, that's nice. I guess the issue is going to be getting the ointment from the kitchens into the other kitchens. Because they are a little close obviously the other lines can just go up and around on the other side. But how do I move? Okay, wait, no. This won't be as difficult as I thought because I keep forgetting I only need one kitchen for the actual ointment. So that can, that kitchen won't have to, or I can be more creative, aka less organized with how I feed into that kitchen. Because I'll have space to move. Alright, let's build some shit. Need 6 kitchens. 1, 2. Or do I just put it right here? Probably is my safest bet. No, I need to make it in line with my barn so I can copy the way that they feed their resources into the other kitchens, but in reverse. Okay, that there, that there, that there. So these are making fishing oil. These will make ointment. They will feed into a packager. A packager will feed into these barns. Wow, amazing. It's like we're back to where we were. Hooray. Although the packager is kind of being run into, but it shouldn't matter. It should be okay. Or will I? I guess I'll want to... Well, let me think. Yeah, these need to be on the outsides, actually, if I want to... I mean, they don't both have to be... Actually, they do both have to be, otherwise I'm gonna run into space problems. Okay, so packager right there. By right there, I mean the floating scaffolding. Where is it? Where is it? Where is she? Rachel! Okay. Pack in the crate. That'll output just fine. Build the system that we had before, and everything will be hunky-dory. Pusher. Add the next level. Oops. Alright. I guess I didn't need to build that pusher where I built it on the first layer. And honestly, I shouldn't, because it will improve the throughput of the system if I don't do it that way. Because this is the prioritized output, so I want it to go as fast as possible. And in that case, it will. Okay. So, now I need to lay down some lines. And these kitchens need to be facing into each other so they don't accidentally output places they're not supposed to. And I'm noticing I have plenty of free space in the center, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be laying lines over that in a way that makes it not actually free. Yes, that is true. That being said, I'll have space above those lines to work, which is useful. I still have to solve that problem of my fish needs, and making sure my lines are not divided in an incorrect way. Because this system that I'm building right now needs 80% of my fish. But I can't think of a good way to divide it like that. You know, je feel? You feel me, bro? Okay. So, now feed fish into kitchen. And voila, now we'll be able to get both barns into their respective kitchens without running into issues. And then this will be the same thing, it just has to be in the air. It needs to go over this. Spot. Okay. So up. That's like that. Alright, throw the grabbers down. Now I have to hook these into the kitchen. I'll probably also want to give them 3 lines. Ooh, I might have created a problem. Maybe not. They may have created a problem, but it might be a solvable problem. Which are the best kind. So, I need 3 lines coming out of this and going into that. They need to be at the highest level, because otherwise they're not going to clear the barn and they're not going to clear the grabbers. But that's not to say they have to start at the highest level, especially because they are the outside arc. So they have the longest path to travel on. So I think I can do this, it's just going to be a little wonky. And this just has to be like that. So let me get the grabber down first or else I'll forget about it. Okay, so yes, this works perfectly fine, which is nice. Oops, I've messed up my scaffold and now my barn is in the way, so I'll move the barn. This needs to be up a little bit higher, just so it's on level with everything else. Okay, put the barn back. Throw down this and build everything. Okay. Beautiful. Wings of glory. So that's fish oil from this one. It really does not need that many lines, but if I have that many lines, the system has a natural buffer built into it, and that is desirable, so I am doing it that way. Come on. Build my arch. Build my arch, bro. Okay. Put that back so I don't forget, and we go up. We're on the 3rd level, which is where we need to be. Place down this scaffold just because. Alright, and now this side can also be set up. That should all be good. This one is going to be much simpler because it's just literally build a turn. Oops, I built too many scaffold. And of course I can only delete the scaffold by deleting everything else on top of it, but that's beside the point. Do I make this 3 high? Sure. Just so it stays consistent. Voila! All of these lines are hooked up. If I unpause the game, it should start working. I've fucked this up royally. By placing the wrong scaffold on top of it. Whoops. The funny thing about it is I'm pretty sure I didn't do that on the other side. I think I just did it on this side. Let me double check though. Yeah, the other side is correct. Hooray! So now this will really test the system to see if it keeps track correctly. It did. No, it's down. It's -1. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Okay, so are these actually producing? They are. They're just slow because that's how this is going to be. Oh yeah, there's no output. That's an issue. even bother messing with that right now. So these kitchens actually need to go into the packager or else there's no point. Hooray! Okay, throw the grabbers down, and now we'll start seeing the system run as intended. We'll have more ointment coming back out, which is good. And we can actually move forward. I need to rebuild the other line, though. So how do I want to do that? I guess at this point I can use the same line, which is unfortunate because I deleted it. But yes, it will still work. Go above everything and still meet its old friend, the barn. I'll just rebuild it real quick and honestly probably call it a night there because it's almost 4 o'clock. I'm getting a tad bit salty, which might have been evident, but yeah. That's what happens when you make mistakes. You gotta fix them or else you can't move forward. 4, 5, 6. Okay. So that's where that needs to be. So this top line will receive more fish than it's supposed to receive. I think the system will naturally resolve itself. I don't know. Alright, where do I build this? Okay, so that actually hooks up to the side. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I remember it just goes down from there. Couple of layers. No, that is correct. No, that's not correct. What even is correct? Okay. First ramp down, it goes down by 2 and then turns. Does this twice. So that'll be solid. That'll be solid. 1, 2, 3. So that probably actually needs to be a wood arch. I guess technically the block next to it will need to be as well. Okay, I think I'm getting there. Down ramp, down ramp, down ramp. I mean, I'm kind of glad that this works out because I do really like the look of it. It's fun, it's silly. Just, it's hard to work with. So I needed to redesign it. Or I needed to delete it while I was redesigning so I could see what I was doing. Okay. So now it'll go to the top and rotate back down. Connects back up where it's supposed to, and it is connected there as well, which is good. Add a rail stop to it, and rebuild my kitchen. Simple enough. Fish oil. Okay. Ooh, I am not running into issues, never mind. Okay. Build a little bit of scaffold just to give it some nice support. But then this is the fun part right here. So this has to be like that. And then ramp down, and that's where it connects. I guess I'll throw the scaffold underneath as well, so it looks a little more connected. Okay, so that's where it's supposed to be. Should It's all scaffolded. Am I gonna run into that? Aren't I? Yes, so I do need to go up and above that. I gotta be careful with my block selection, is what I'm saying. Okay. There we go. So this should work. But obviously we want to watch to make sure that it does. And so we have to wait for some fish to make it up here. But they're outputting quickly. This barn should fill up without too much trouble. This will probably go to even further negative. It's at -2 now, but it's hard to tell. It's so ridiculous because, like, maybe by stopping it, it's depending on when this triggers, it could be triggering like it could be triggering that it's exited before it's actually exited. Can't move a blocker, unfortunately. Okay. But so let's see. Yes, that's the problem, I think. That this should be set to exit instead of enter. I have no idea what's happening here. Literally just figured out you can put a splitter on rail tracks and you're like, yeah, the magic rails are a lot of fun. I like them. That's what's making everything go so fast. But also looking at this, this is more complex than it needs to be. This doesn't need to be designed the way that it is. This was more of a proof of concept, but you never actually have to move things this quickly. Or, I guess, this system would be very nice if my fish weren't, like, literally 10 blocks from their destination. Like, if I was fishing in the ocean over here, this system would work. Yeah, mana power, it's kind of tricky. I mean, I unfortunately can't show you very well because I just, like, deleted all of my old infrastructure to rebuild it. But if I go to this, I do still have some of it hooked up. The main issue is just, this is my mana reactor, so it has, I added boosters for everything, just mostly for the sake of it. But the fish is actually more intuitive than it comes across as. Because, I mean, assuming at this point you have boats unlocked, which I figure you probably do, you just have to build a boat worker, and then you give it directions like anything else, and then you need a shore-accessible storage item for them to drop it off onto, because obviously they can't go onto the land, so it has to be something they can reach. But then it just goes from there. Okay. So I think I've probably corrected this now, so it keeps track of things correctly. But I'll just have to keep an eye on it. This system's all backed up now, which is fine. The real question is, how deep do I want to get into the medical bandage line or wrapping line? Unfortunately, I do think I need to get off now because I have adulting to do tomorrow because my car payment went through late, even though it's on auto pay. And I have the money in my account, so I get to go have fun at the bank tomorrow morning before work. So I'm sorry that you just showed up, Shillianth Gaming, but I think I'll be getting off, unfortunately. I do tend to stream every night though, so if you come by tomorrow, I'll hopefully be on and maybe be able to actually make more progress and show you some stuff, but see you around. Thanks for stopping by at the very least, and have a good night.